I'd like to pay, they say beside, I don't know whether he called me a good man or that, but beside every man there is a good woman, like. And I'd like to pay a tribute to Bernie, like. She changed my life from being a run-of-the-mill farmer's son in Moat Ballynakill, like, to, you know, being the father of 6 kids and a good business. And
absolutely,
I mean, she was as much a part of it as I was, like.
Yeah.
And she brought the kids to matches and rang up people, and she was part of the whole thing. I wouldn't have been able to do all that, like, without her too, like, you know. So, you know.
But sure, absolutely, we'd accept that, PJ. Only 2 years in together and created an atmosphere of appreciating the GA and the whole lot. Like, it wouldn't have happened in the family. So.
And anyone ever that came into this house, like, never went out of it without a big feed, like. Now, when he came in here tonight with COVID restrictions and so forth, etc., Tom said to me, "We're not having any tea now, PJ. This COVID is very bad, like, and we don't want to bring it into the house, or we don't want to do anything to damage or cause scandal about COVID, like. We don't want to be quoted on RTE as breaking the rules, like." So he said we wouldn't even have tea, but I think we'll have a cup of tea anyway. But
there are serious times there.
Nobody ever came into this house, like, but left with the full belly anyway.
Oh God, absolutely. That you're no for that, PJ.
And I mean, we opened our house here, like, to all the. I had 8 and 9 people working here in the piggery full time, like.
Yeah.
And every one of them got a breakfast here in the morning at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
After being in here at 8:30, like. At 10:30 saw us in here, like.
Yeah.
And now, before I close, I'd like to pay a tribute to Paddy MacDonald. Like, everybody knew Paddy, like.
Yeah. He tried his hand at a bit of electrical work, didn't he?
Well, like, he was my lorry driver, like.
Yeah.
And Paddy, you'll have to know Paddy, like. He'd do anything for you.
Yeah.
And himself and his co-driver, Jack Costigan, they travelled from Roscommon to Cork to Maynooth to Granard, collecting pig feed and delivering pigs all over the country as well, like.
Yeah.
And always got home safe and sound, like.
Absolutely, yeah.
And poor Paddy, like, had his health problems, like, which we probably didn't appreciate were as serious as it turned out after.
Yeah.
So on the 20th of March 2001, Paddy MacDonald left here with the lorry and trailer to go to the mill in Portlaoise for a load of feed.
Yeah.
He drove into the mill, pulled off the cover off the lorry, pulled in under the spout. The lorry was filled. Paddy got up in the truck, tied down all the things, secured the cover, and got back into the truck and collapsed and died in the cab of the truck before he pulled out.
Yeah.
That was the 20th of January 2001. I think he was about 59 or 60.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But we always knew Paddy. He worked in the pit below with Humphrey Dowland, and he got a little bit of a turn at that stage years before. That was about 1992 or 3, I think. And he came to work for me then in 1994. I dislocated my shoulder and I couldn't drive the truck. I used to deliver the pigs and collect the feed and all myself.
Yeah.
And but I shouldn't have been doing that because I wasn't managing the piggery the way I should.
Yeah.
So I used to enjoy the driving too, like, anyone that knows me, like, say.
Like to get a bit of break, yeah.
Anyway, so I recruited Paddy as a driver in 1994 when I couldn't drive when I hurt my shoulder.
Right.
And for Paddy stayed with me from 94 to 2001.
Right, yeah.
And Paddy was a great man for the area, and he was a great man for Spink GA as well. He was on the line with his notebook, and he had a I don't know whether Margaret has his notebooks, but every match he was there, and he recorded every score, every team, who we bet.
Yeah.
And I don't know where, maybe they're available or someone might find them someday, like, but every match was recorded by Paddy. Yeah, even although, like, I don't think, he probably might have been on the committee, but he was never a PRO or...
Push himself forward, yeah.
No, he was in the background there doing all that, like.
Yeah. Well, Lord mercy on him, and he may rest in peace.
Yeah, he rest in peace,
You know, Paddy.
Yeah, Paddy was a big part of the thing here, like.
Yeah, well, you're letting us into some secrets that Bernie and yourself, you had a team, and, you know, when you get them breakfast, it was a...
Well, this table here, like, was... You know, we started off with Dan Shock, like, in 1975. Dan came with me to mix cement for Bernie's brother Johnny. He done all the planning and the drawing out. Johnny was a bit of a draftsman, like, and a planner and a carpenter, and he was everything, like, in the piggery. And I wanted somebody to help Johnny, like, we were laying the foundations for the first, or the second piggery we built the first one in 75. It was done by a contractor, but anything in 1973 that was, but or 74. But in 75, then when it was building on, Johnny was here. Johnny, my brother-in-law, and he wanted someone to help him, carry the blocks, mix the cement, do all that, like hold the line. And I was down in the creamery one day, and I asked Pat Costigan, was there anyone around Ballykill that might be interested in serving a tradesman? He says, well, he said, Dan Shock is walking around Ballykill there with his hands in his pockets. He says, and I know bloody well he doesn't want to be that way. He says, Dan is a worker. He says, go in and see him. So I went in to Dan and he asked me how they come up. Oh, no problem. And he was with me from 75 to I retired in 2004, and he worked here with Paul Tully for another 5 or 6 years. Dan got into a bit of bad health then and died a bit premature a few years ago.
Lord mercy on him as well,
And then I had Sue Ham, like. Sue was still going strong inside in Minans Oil. I had Emmett Carter and Paddy Wallace, Eddie Brannigan, Richard Costigan. They were all here. And Paddy MacDonald and Jack Costigan would get their cup of tea here as well. Jack toured Ireland with Paddy in the lorry, like. And as for the piggery, it was great, like, you know. I just decided in 2004, like, there was more, I could retire, like.
Absolutely, which was.
And I remember then, I got sick then in February. I was diagnosed with prostate cancer. And the word was, oh, that's why Cahill sold the piggery. Sure, the vicar has cancer, like. You know, so... But it had nothing to do with it. I was only diagnosed with cancer, like, the following February after Paul moved into the piggery here in November. And I was diagnosed with cancer in February, like, but sure, thanks be to God, like, it never affected me one bit.
Well, that's great now. Please God, it won't either.
That's right. I had 2 hips done and 2 hernias. And
You're after...
still going strong.
You're after doing a lot of going, a lot of energy,
So I don't know how we got sidetracked there, like, but
we got sidetracked.
I'm a bit of a talker, like, so I can't stop.
Absolutely.
You better stop me.
That's why we chose to interview you, PJ, because we knew we'd get a lot of information.
No, I'd like to say something else. Maybe, like, people in Ballapicus would say that PJ Cahill in latter years hasn't been much of a Ballapicus man. But now, I don't know how to address that situation, but it's great that Tom Cahill there and Mary Wheel and Aidan Barry, all them, like, carried on the tradition of Ballapicus down through the years from the time they were founded in 1915 or 20 or whatever, like. And then it went to Blandsport and came back to Ballapicus, and we won and we lost, and we're still maybe losing more now. But, like, since John Day became... I always believed, like, that in coming together rather than separating, like. It's the same way with this Brexit, like. Britain, like, decided that they don't want to be in Europe, and... I mean, it's the worst thing. Look at the problems it's going to cause, like.
Absolutely.
And here we are, like, we have a hurling team in Ballapicus, we have a football team in Spink, we have had a hurling and football team in Ballykill. Now, I decided in 1998, like, that Spink was going nowhere. and all the Gormans, the Cahills, the Brennans, the Flemings, and I'm leaving out one other. Millers.
Yes.
Have all got. We're all retiring, like.
Absolutely.
And I had Thomas Stone and what you call Seamus or Young Dwyer and a few lads. But we didn't have the numbers, like.
Yeah.